Welcome to the ChuggieBets NFL Week 17 podcast. I've got Danny, I got Andy, I got Al, and I got Sunshine beneath me. But before we do anything, let's drink some beer. Cheers, boys. Who's ready to chug some beers and make some bad gambling picks? Welcome to ChuggieBets.
Why is it spicy?
Bud Light. All right, so we had a pretty good week last week. Actually, we were a little bit up and down, but we do have some Chuggy bets to give out. Sonny had a tougher week, won a Chuggy bet. Danny was just below 500. I was 4-2, but no Chuggy bet to give there. Wait, let's see.
My record's a lie.
So you guys have. So Andy and
I was 28-0 last week.
You were. Andy and Al have the same record.
Sure.
How do we do this on a 6-3 versus a 2-1?
No,
Does
he
the
was
tie-
he was 3 games above 500. That's
Oh, I didn't know if we were doing on percentage. Sorry.
oh no, I took it to him.
Andy went 2-1 and won a Chuggy bet. We should have done this off air. This is a production issue.
Yeah,
That's my
that's
fault.
very
and then Al is the big winner this week. So he went 6-3-1. He won a Chuggy bet. So Al has 2, Andy has 1, Sonny has 1 to give out. That's the housekeeping there. So good week, fellas. I'm glad we all made some money. Unfortunately, 3 teams will be leaving us. They will no longer be in the playoffs. So in the proper way to bury them, we are going to do our compliment sandwich. Andy, remember the Indianapolis Colts?
So Indianapolis, you have a really great steakhouse. I've never been there, but I'm told that St. Elmo's is the place for steaks. And in the Midwest, right? There's a lot of farms, cattle. They should know their beef. So I'm going to say it's probably a pretty good steakhouse.
My dad spends a lot of time in Indianapolis. He's been there. He says it's great.
Everyone loves it.
And I trust
I
Andy's
do
dad
love steak.
on
Yeah,
steak.
on steaks for sure.
For sure. You've had more quarterbacks than I can count since Andrew Luck retired. You had some really good luck going from Peyton to Andrew Luck, but since Andrew Luck retired, you ran out of luck, and you've had more quarterbacks than I can count.
It's like a Babe Ruth level curse.
It is.
And then my final compliment is Indianapolis. You are the only city in Indiana that I can name. So congratulations.
Congratulations. You did it in
Being,
Indianapolis.
being the
Muncie.
city I know.
Muncie.
And Gary, yeah, I know, but and Bloomington, there's others, but
Isn't there another one in that musical you were in high school? Or is that Gary?
River City.
Yeah, he's a Gary, Indiana.
yeah,
Is that
Gary,
is the Music Man in Indiana? Man, this is
It
a weird
is.
switch.
Did
Weird
they
way
sell
to go.
yeah. Do they have monorails there?
all right.
Do you
so
No, we were going to go there today.
rest
Do you
in
think
peace,
it-
Indy.
Do you think everyone gets access to Jim Irsay's pills, or he just keeps them for himself? Is that the problem? I don't know. Let's go.
Everyone gets access to
A lot
he
of
throws
people,
pills out like
but not
$100
everyone.
bills from his limo. He's just tossing
It's like
pills.
Oprah. You get some pills.
You get
and
some
you
pills.
Get some
You
pills.
get some pills.
All
And
right.
then
Guys,
5
this
minutes
is
later, he
opioid
comes at you and
epidemic.
he's like, "Why do you have those pills?" And he's pissed at you, and you're like, "You literally just gave them to me when you were high. You don't remember."
That sounds like a billionaire, actually. That sounds exactly how they do things.
So unfortunately, Sunshine lost his beloved Atlanta Falcons this week. They are no longer in the playoff hunt. Sunshine, memorialize the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, it's about time. For the longest time this season, we've been wondering, are we playing for a draft pick? Are we playing for a playoff spot? Who knows? We don't.
Okay.
We made that choice when we pulled Mariota to put in the young man Ritter, see what he could do. And, there's maybe some optimism there, but clearly Atlanta doesn't really know what they're doing. We got some stuff to figure out in the off season. And, well, you know what? The fucking, the Magic City Wings are fire.
They're incredible. I heard they're great.
Oh,
People leave bubbles to go get them.
I
Yep.
love wings.
And that is the Atlanta Falcons. Cheers, Atlanta Falcons. It was good
Cheers.
to remember you. And you know what? Fortunately, I'm going to say fortunately, the Cleveland Browns are no longer in the playoffs.
Damn right.
how do we memorialize the Cleveland Browns? You paid a rapist a lot of money to join your team, and that's not good. I think we can all agree that's not a good thing. You did
generally
progressively change your baseball team's name to no longer be the Indians, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good. And you have a river that lights on fire, even though it's currently not on fire, which I guess is a good thing, but it still has the potential to light on fire anytime. That's not good.
And the
I think I
dog
just
pound
did-
is a stupid gimmick.
I think I just put the bread in the middle of the meat. I don't think I did the sandwich right, but to the Cleveland Browns.
They
How
don't
about-
deserve to have a sandwich, right?
How about the weird little elf they have at midfield?
I
Weird.
kind of like Brownie
Weird.
the elf,
Mm-mm.
but it's a weird
I like
name.
the elf,
That elf is
but the
weird.
dog pound is
Pick
weird.
one.
I don't
Is it?
like it.
Are they dogs? Are they elves? Pick one.
I kind of
Are they helmets? I don't know.
they just
Are they a
Are
I
they-
like
color?
their I like
they just
their logo.
orange?
Are they tigers? Are they war eagles? Pick one.
They're a color,
I-
but not the same color as their name.
I would actually enjoy it if their logo on the side of their helmet was the helmet, and it's just a helmet on a helmet, and you're like, oh, they're the helmets.
How about just helmets all the way down, man?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that idea.
Wow. Big
Inception.
brain shit over here. All right. But
Did
those
they
two
even
teams-
really lose? Did they even really play? Who knows?
You know, this is the kind of like overly mental thought that can make somebody want to kill themselves.
Speaking of killing their career,
Yes.
last week Al tried to kill Nathaniel Hackett, I think. Or no, he didn't try to kill him. He said that he needs to be doing something better with his life. And this week he got fired because he's awful at his job. Al, do you want to memorialize Nathaniel Hackett?
Yeah. So to your credit, Matt, I actually said both. I said both that he should kill himself, and then I backtracked and I said he should just not be coaching a team anymore. And turns out I was
You did
right.
Backtrack.
And he is no longer coaching a team anymore. And if
Some people think
anyone-
he's never actually coached a team. Some say he's never
Yeah.
coached a team.
some say his ghost still haunts
Some
that
would be
field
right.
to this day. Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett is an incredibly bad coach. He's a decent offensive coordinator, like decent, like maybe. Definitely not someone who should have been in consideration for a head coaching gig, and definitely very bad in that position. Not a good team manager. I saw somebody say, "Do you think the Broncos will ever admit that they hired Nathaniel Hackett with the full intent of acquiring Aaron Rodgers?" And then that fell through, and they had to go get Russ Wilson because he needed somebody, and they were just like, "We fucked this whole thing up." They'll never admit it, but I fully believe in that conspiracy theory.
I think we all do, don't we? Is there anybody here that
Yeah.
doesn't?
No, everybody thought Nathaniel Hackett was hired because Aaron Rodgers was coming with him.
And Aaron Rodgers was
Yeah.
going to be the offensive coordinator, basically. And
Yeah. And then
Yes,
whoops,
that was
nope.
everybody assumes that that's true.
Yeah.
then they got dangerous.
It's as true as Michael Jordan's gambling.
Mr.
suspension.
Limited.
The fun thing here is Russ Wilson. I know he's been hurt, but there was someone on TikTok and Twitter that was tracking how many bathrooms he had versus how many quarterback touchdowns that he threw for, and the number is exactly tied right now. He has 12 bathrooms and 12 touchdowns, and I think it's going to
What's
end
more-
that way. And the guy
What's
did it
more likely?
ironically.
What's more likely that he throws more
got cut?
touchdowns or he
Oh no,
puts
I'm
more
sorry, I got ball sacked. I
additions
forgot.
on?
Say
Maybe
that
he's
again,
adding
Al?
on. I said, what's more likely that he throws more touchdown passes this year, or that he does another addition?
Wow, I
It's
think the
tied
addition.
now, but it doesn't mean either one can't win.
I think he's going
Wouldn't
to
that
get
be
more
funny?
bathrooms.
Wouldn't that be funny if he knew about that and he's like, we got to hold off on this addition until after the season because we don't want
Till next
gotta
year.
gotta outpace
Also-
the bathrooms.
I'm sure he's got a pool. That basically counts,
Yeah, it's
right?
true.
Like,
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. It's a 12 and a
Pool
half
and
bath.
spa.
Yeah.
Pool and spa. That's two.
exactly.
No one
Plus,
poops
how
in
many
the pool.
sinks? How many sinks does he have?
Trees in the backyard.
Bro,
Like I said,
who looks for a tree? Who pees on their trees? You
Cups.
pee right in the middle of the backyard like a fucking man.
Empty cups
Not
and
Rust.
bottles in his car.
Not dangerous.
He's Mr. Limited then if you have to find a tree. If you need a tree, you're limited.
Well, we've
You
talked
don't
about
need a tree, but a tree is nice.
It is. I like peeing on a tree.
I
There,
have a
the-
nice
the
big
only-
backyard. I like to stand right in the middle of it and just let it all
Just-
flap in the wind.
Yeah, you just like to claim your land. You're a
I
proud
actually
man.
like
You
to
paid for the
face the
land.
camera. The camera.
Mm.
Missy's just watching the security camera like, you're so gross. Sorry, your wife.
Was the implication that his wife has a piss kink?
No, it was the
No,
opposite.
no, I think it's the
It was
opposite.
very
I think
much
it's
the opposite.
I
I
think
think
it's that
Danny
she's considering divorce over the way I pee in the
I think
backyard.
Danny wants her to have a piss cake, and she doesn't. Very much so.
I have no desire for her to have a piss kink. I want to make that explicitly clear. Because
Going
she
on the
does
record.
listen. She does listen.
She listens
I
in the
wanna
car
make-
with your kids, right?
Yeah, and we're actually trying to do no poo poo and pee pee talk with no potty talk right now. So kids, this was not okay.
No,
Fast
No.
forward.
Move on.
We're all very bad. We should all drink.
we should all be
Everybody
happy.
drink.
Yeah, that's a
not
much better
peeing.
message to be sending to your
peeing.
children.
Daddy doesn't pee in the backyard.
No pee pee
And nobody
poopy
should be
talk.
in-
Everybody drink.
All right, so we talked about the teams that were eliminated, but let's talk a little more about the playoff picture. We're coming down to the wire. There's a lot of teams still in contention, a surprising amount of teams.
Whiskey
still in
was a good
contention.
choice.
Al, you want to break down the playoff picture for us a little bit?
Yeah, so there are 5 of the 7 playoff spots in the AFC have been locked up. There's a little bit of room for those teams to maneuver within that. Like Cincinnati can still technically win the 1 seed division. So a little bit of shuffling is going to happen there, but all of those teams are locked in, save for the AFC South winner, which is either going to be Jacksonville or Tennessee. And then the 7 seed is still up for grabs, which the Dolphins currently reside in. They have the 4-game losing streak
Yep.
with the Patriots, Jets, Titans, and Steelers all a game back with 2 to go. So tight race for the last spot there, and then really just who's going to win that Week 18 matchup between Jags and Titans in the AFC. Do you guys have any hot takes for who gets in?
I think Jacksonville's going to make it. I think Jacksonville's going to win that spot in the AFC South. I don't think that team's very good without Ryan Tannehill. And I know he went out there and tried to game it, but dude's going to die out there. Like,
Dude,
and
he
I know
game. He can game. Don't hate on him. He can game.
I'm not hating on him at all. I think he's injured. I think he's legitimately injured and trying to play out there because they know they can't make it with Malik Willis.
I think Malik Willis can play.
I do too. I don't think they're going to.
I just don't think he's ready. I think he just needs more time with the first team reps and everything. And I think if they still had AJ Brown, Malik Willis would be able to like have a guy where he could just throw it up sometimes, and they just don't have that weapon. I mean, they still have that weapon, but you have to hand it to him. You don't get to throw it to him.
Yeah.
You know.
You're talking about Tannehill playing injured.
Yeah,
Tannehill will play injured. That dude is tough.
I mean, but to me, that like sometimes that can be kind of selfish.
It
You know,
can
playing when you're injured.
Playing when you're injured can definitely
Yeah,
be
I was gonna. That's funny. I was
great.
gonna say, are you guys intentionally avoiding talk about the 7th seed here because the Dolphins are looking like more and more
Yes.
every day like they're not going to stay in that spot?
Yes, intentionally avoiding it. Yes.
Yeah,
Move on.
I'm really scared of the Jets winning that 7 seed. If I had to pick one of those teams, I think they can fight with the Seahawks next week, and we'll see what version of the Dolphins we get.
Yeah.
Like if Mike White
Patriots,
doesn't take the
too.
Jets, I don't see them doing great things. But
I think
hey,
he's gonna
who's
be
that?
back.
Who's that guy they put out there on Thursday?
Streveler?
Streveler? Who's Streveler?
Yeah, Chris
He's the guy who
Streveler,
fixed
CFL
wagons in the
wonderkid.
middle. Yeah, that's the name of someone who like fixes wagons in the medieval times. He's a Streveler.
I love it.
I
On
don't
the
know anything
I
NFC
feel like he's the
side,
guy you saw on Oregon Trail to buy your wagon, right?
Yeah.
You had to go
Talk
visit
to the
Streveler.
Streveler.
You
He'll
have to go
help you
visit
fjord the
Streveler.
river.
Yeah.
on the NFC side, things are a little bit clearer, a little more open for play, actually, as far as the wild cards go. But the divisions, you got Eagles, Vikings, Niners as the top 3 seeds. Cowboys also have locked up a playoff spot behind the Eagles, and then you've got the Bucks as the front runners for the NFC South. Even though I think Carolina's still technically open
Unbelievable.
for that one, so they can still win that division. There was a time, I think, either last week or the week before, that all 4 teams in the NFC South could have finished 6-11, which would have been incredible. But for the wild cards, so Dallas has locked up the top wild card spot, but the 2 other spots currently belong to the Giants and Commanders. Commanders have a half-game lead thanks to that tie with the Giants over the Seahawks, Lions, and Packers. So those are the teams to watch with games that matter this week on the
Yeah,
NFC side.
I'm really, like I said, I think the Seahawks Jets game is going to be really fascinating this week. And you could have given me $1 million. You say, what game looks really good in week 17? I would have never given that before the season.
Never picked this one, right?
If you
Yeah.
had told me before the season Geno Smith would still be playing quarterback for the Seahawks, I would have said, hell no.
You think Geno Smith
Or
has
how
an
bad
axe
did
to
things
grind
go,
against the
right?
Jets? His son is named Jet. So I think he actually likes where he started. I don't know if that's just like an odd thing, but I think he's going to go out there and try to play. I think that's going to be a really entertaining game this week.
Yeah, I agree.
I just want to point out that not only is he still playing, but he's playing well.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, and I in my heart, because I've been watching him get trampled over and be a backup for some years. It's pretty cool to see somebody. I don't know what changed. See somebody come out and be a
He wasn't
leading.
surrounded by Jets anymore.
Yep.
Probably the same thing that made Russ Wilson like an MVP and then moved him to Denver and made him look like the worst quarterback who's ever played the position. I wonder if it has to do with Pete Carroll and the offense they run in
Yeah,
Seattle.
Pete Carroll,
No,
great
it's not
coach.
just Pete Carroll. It's not just Pete Carroll.
DK
So
Metcalf.
I heard Mina Kimes do a little bit of analysis on Russell Wilson here, and he actually, his drop off started before he left. So he had his passer rating had gone down in his last couple games of last season, and his mobility has really taken a hit in the season before he left as well. And basically, the what Pete Carroll did that was so smart was see this was going to happen. And yeah, they have DK Metcalf, they have Tyler Lockett, they have this offense that could mask it, right? He may have been able to make it look like he was still really good for another couple years if he had stayed in Seattle, but he just didn't have the personality that would ever see it for himself. So he wasn't ever going to say, "Oh, I'll take a lesser contract. I'll be a better teammate. I'll be Mr. Limited here in here in Seattle." He was going to be the big ego guy who was going to be like, "Oh no, you got to do all this for me." And they were like, "Look, we just think that your main talent that made you the best quarterback was your improvisation that was you were able to do because of your elusivity. Is that a word? Elusivity?
I think so.
Elusiveness.
Elusiveness. There you go. So and when he lost that, because he wasn't necessarily running the offense they wanted him to run a lot of the time, but he was able to make it happen because let Russ cook or whatever. I basically watched her go do a whole analysis on all these different plays, and it was pretty fascinating. So
yeah, she's the best in the business at breaking down football. Can we talk about Steve Wilkes being coach of the year? Can we have this conversation?
Yes.
The Panthers were crap with Matt Rule. We were all laughing as they had one win. They are on the precipice of getting a playoff spot. I really want someone to talk about Steve Wilkes in the interim position. He's been fascinating this year.
I think it's a 2-horse race currently. And if either of the teams actually end up making it into the playoffs, that's going to be what separates them. Steve Wilkes at Carolina and the MCDC, Dan Campbell in Detroit.
Oh, you think,
I think
winner gets coached?
Yeah, I think.
What about Jacksonville?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more expected. I think than the other two. I think it's more expected that
the guy who's expected to have success in Jacksonville got fired last year.
No,
for
literally maybe in Jacksonville, but literally nobody thought Urban Meyer was going to be good. That's the dumbest hire ever. But I think Doug Peterson's been there before, and he's a good coach.
Expensive dumb hire.
And they're 7-8. They're not 12-3 or whatever, So I think this is not to shit
The
on Doug
Panthers aren't
Peterson and the
12-3
Jags,
either.
right? But I'm saying well, for one, as an interim, it's a tough sell to win, Coach of the Year. But there's definitely no denying that Steve Wilkes turned a team
Absolutely
that
turn
was
that team around.
rudderless into one that was competitive and
Dan Campbell did that for a
wins
couple games
together.
too.
I could argue that they turned their season around after they traded McCaffrey. McCaffrey is a locker room cancer. and-
Yeah, he's a
Oh, man.
liability.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he goes to San Fran, and what do you know? First thing you know, the quarterback goes down.
Oh, he
Seattle-
wasn't protecting him.
Exactly.
Seattle did that one time when they got the Mariners did that one time when they got rid of Ken Griffey Jr., A-Rod, and the big unit.
Are there any other
That's
like
changed
coaches that
sports.
would be in consideration here for Coach of the Year besides those three?
Mike
Jacksonville's a really
McDaniel
good one.
3 weeks ago.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Jacksonville being third.
How
Yeah,
about I'm blanking on his name right now. San Fran. He's on his third string quarterback.
Kyle
and
Shanahan?
They're still winning.
Yeah,
right?
I know that award typically goes to teams that like win
Didn't
games,
go to the
make the
Super Bowl
playoffs,
3 years ago.
things like that. So that's probably a good consideration.
I do think you need to consider Kevin O'Connell too for the Minnesota Vikings. They're winning in the dumbest fashion ever, where their point differential doesn't matter. And I understand that when I said that Al was going to throw up, even though he's wearing a purple shirt.
What about
but
Dayball? What about Dayball?
Yeah, Dable.
Dable's been great.
Yeah,
Sonny,
I would
did you
say
have one?
not good enough, but still pretty good. And then who's running the show in Buffalo? McDermott.
Yeah, that team's great. Yeah, McDermott's got a good thing going on there.
So yeah, it could be like something lame like that of one of these like top teams or Sirianni and Philly.
Sirianni's a great one.
But I would
Actually,
much rather see
Sirianni's
it
the
go to
one.
one of these. Yeah, I would much rather see it go to one of
Sirianni
these like
kind of
middle
deserves
of the
it
pack
because
teams
that
that
team
strung it.
wasn't expected to be top of the league, and they have been a wagon all year.
Yeah.
And that press conference, holy shit, that was the worst introductory press
introductory?
conference of
Yeah.
all time. And that guy looked like
Hilariously bad.
it was so bad.
It wasn't
The
the worst because his eyes were facing the right direction. The worst one,
Adam Gase.
yeah, Adam Gase was the worst one with the Jets.
He looked everywhere. He saw every reporter at the same time. All right. We did have one great game we wanted to cover. I know Danny ended up winning a bananas bet.
Yeah. Andy does these records in like a weird way. I don't know how he came up with me having like only 2 wins and 3 losses because I went like 28-0 on teasers last week. So whatever. I'll listen to, I'm just gonna let it happen. But the only teaser that I even had a chance of losing last week, the only one that was even like in doubt was this Patriots game. And I don't know if any of you guys were watching it. But it was nuts. So
Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I sent a text when it was 22-0, and the text said the Patriots are at dead. Like literally are done.
Dead. So I was like, I watched the beginning of the game with my dad, and we were sitting there watching. I turned to him and I go, Joe Burrow's the best quarterback in the NFL. Everything he's throwing is a dime. The only passes that were incomplete were drops. He's amazing. First of all, Joe Burrow is awesome, and he might
He's not throwing a
actually get this.
catchable ball. That's his fault. You have to throw more catchable ball, son.
More catchable ball. Yeah. Well, if it's too catchable, then the other team will catch it.
I don't want to talk about that.
Anyway, so basically Joe Burrow is out there like lighting up the Patriots. I'm like, all right, we'll lose one of these teasers. I got 7 out there with every other team that comes out to 28 bets. I'll lose 6 of them. It'll be fine. Now, all of a sudden the Patriots start coming back. They drive down the field, they get a score. I'm like, this I still don't believe we're gonna cover this 9-point teaser. And then there's this deep bomb. They're throwing like a Hail Mary type pass, and one of the guys jumps up to catch it, but he can't catch it, and he basically grabs it and tosses it back to the other player. It's like an alley-oop. You guys ever play tips basketball?
Yeah.
When you were in like middle school or high school, where you have to jump up and like not have your feet on the floor and catch it and tip it to the other guy, and then he had to grab it and not have his feet on the floor and tip it in. That's basically how they scored this touchdown. It was like a tips basketball touchdown, and that's how I got a tips basketball touchdown to cover this teaser. I almost got the over 2 later when they all scored again, but then they fumbled it away. But anyway, It was amazing. That's how I went 28-0 on teasers, and that's how Andy has my terrible fucking record of 2-3 when I made like $500 this weekend.
Can I defend myself here?
Yeah, sure.
Because your record is based on the picks you give Monday night. It's not my fault that you then bet something completely different on Sunday morning. All right?
Everything's on action.
If
Everything
you
that I
wanna-
actually bet is on action. This is just all stuff based on lines that are like way too far in advance when like we don't have all the information. All my actual bets are on action.
Some of us seem to do just fine, Danny.
I mean, my unit size is doing just fine.
Oh, now we're comparing units. Okay, all right. Let me separate these two.
All right, everybody stand up.
I'll stand up.
Units
All right,
units
Matt.
on the table. Let me
I
get
got
the
a unit
ruler.
right here. I got a unit right here. That's for you,
Ooh,
Al.
oh damn, those are sexy.
I know.
It's a Sydney Swan.
Nate just got back from
logo.
Australia with some gifts.
Yeah,
Those are
God bless him.
spiritual gifts.
I love Nate. That was great.
It was.
Oh, you guys will appreciate this. This
Ah,
isn't really
shit.
great for the
Can you
pod.
hear me?
This isn't.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, this isn't really great for the podcast. But so Nate sent me some of this Sydney Swans gear when he got back from Australia, and I was like, "Damn, this is so nice!" And like out of the blue, and like a lot of stuff. So let me send him something back. I was texting Danny over the weekend. I was like, "Do you think I should send him a 4-foot party sub from BNS?" And he was like, "That's a
My
big
exact
sub."
answer. My exact answer was 4 feet is too much, but please do because then I know what I'm having for lunch.
Yeah, that's
And I
lunch
was
and
like,
dinner.
my luck would be they'd try to deliver it on like the next day, and he'd be at work and just come home to a rotten 4-foot party sub, which would be
Nate
awful.
works at home. Nate works at home, bud.
Oh fuck! Damn. Then yeah.
It's
So
com-
I chickened out and sent him a gift basket, but
He's 2 blocks away. I could walk to him right now and eat
the
that
sub would be in
Oh.
his backyard.
Don't
wouldn't that be
tell
so
Danny
funny,
when
though?
you're sending the sub because Nate'll never get it.
Yeah.
Danny will
We'll
intercept
Proof.
it.
I
Share.
need
Danny-
proof
I'll
of
show up with
delivery.
like 4 bush lights and we'll have a sub and some bush lights. It'll be great.
Danny's
Oh.
like, I hope you like the 18-inch sub.
Speaking of unit size,
I
Yeah.
had VNS delivered today. It was fantastic. VNS special,
And-
baby.
speaking of sending things to each other, Danny and Al, both of your lovely wives, sent my family Christmas cards that we've gotten in the past week. And I am just appalled that my wife put the side of the card with your lovely faces on it up against the fridge. I'm very upset about it. I
That
really
really
wanted
makes
your
sense.
lovely faces
Oh
facing
no, the
out.
kids are better.
That
The
makes
kids are
sense.
better.
But the kids are on both sides. The kids are on both.
That's-
If the
that's
kids were
true.
only on one, I would agree.
You
There's
know,
a reason the kids are on the
you're
cover.
right.
There's a reason the kids are on the cover.
I disagree. I told Natalie, I told my wife about this earlier. I'm like, the kids, yes, I understand the kids are super important and they could be the most important.
Of course,
But
they're
it's
adorable.
a Christmas card. It's a family Christmas card. There is no kids without the parents. Everyone wants to see the family together.
it's true.
Did you see the cover of our Christmas card? Those kids are freaking adorable.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
see it
saying
every time I
anything,
get a beer.
look at him in a second. But no,
Matt,
it's,
Matt, I loved the Melikaliki Maka themed Christmas
I'm
card.
glad you liked it. I'm glad you
Also,
liked it.
I'm ashamed to say that I only just realized the lyric is Melikaliki Maka is Hawaii's way of saying Merry Christmas. I always thought it was like, is the wise way. I'm an idiot.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You can see that.
Is Hawaii's way.
I think I just learned the same thing as you right now.
Okay, good. I feel less dumb.
All right, let's get into the games. What do you say?
Let's do it.
But it was a great week, and we have more action. There is a lot of playoff spots available, and a lot of teams that are playing against each other that the game doesn't matter at all, which makes it very hard to bet. But let's start off with a game that actually does matter. We have Dallas going into Tennessee. Al and Andy, why don't you? Al, start us off.
Yeah, I'm taking 10.5 with the Titans. The Cowboys are locked into the 5 seed. They can't win the division. Well, I guess that's not true. They can theoretically win the division. It requires Philly losing to New Orleans this week, which is not going to happen. So, I mean, maybe Dallas plays since they're on Thursday and they play hard to try to win. But I think it's more likely that they're going to try and throttle down some of their talent in preparation for the playoffs. I also think Tennessee, while this game is meaningless to them, all they have to do is beat the Jags to make it. They really need to get their shit together because they've been on a terrible slide and they need a get right game to build a little confidence going into the one that matters. So 10.5 points is also like a mile in NFL. Like,
Yeah,
I think
it's
I've
big.
said all season there are two teams I'll lay double digits with, and it's the Bills and Chiefs. And I think I've even dropped off of the Chiefs on that one about halfway through the year. And the Cowboys are not the Bills or the Chiefs, so I'll take the points.
No,
Yeah.
I
10.5 is too many.
Perfect.
I'm a late ad. I'm a late ad on this one. I think I made it the Cyclone.
We cycloned it. Hey, Sunshine, do you want to take 10.5 points with Tennessee also? Make it super cyclone? I don't know if that's a term, but
We have a
Super
word. We had a word for it.
Cyclone.
It was like
It
a
is-
hurricane or something.
It is professional football, so yeah, I'm gonna do that.
let's make it a Cat 5.
These
When
guys
you
are
also
professional.
you also add in that like Thursday night football unders are like
Yeah,
that
was
ridiculous.
exactly
You're gonna
my
have like
thought.
35, 40 points in this game.
We don't know if
Yeah.
Tannehill's playing yet, but he's tough as nails, so he probably is. And then the Thursday night football unders. Those are the two things that factored into my head where I was like, I'm going to take these 10.5.
Yeah, the total's 40.5. Like
That's a great under too.
That's why
Yeah.
I bet against Minnesota in the college.
Yeah.
Total's like 41. I'm like, I'm getting 10 points and a 41-point total. I'm going to take those.
Our record for the year on unanimous Cyclones is pretty good. I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's like 6-2, something like that. So
Yeah, we're pretty good.
It's better
All right,
in
let's-
ones that I'm not in.
Let's go to a bird battle in Atlanta. We got Arizona coming into Atlanta. I'm taking the under 41 here. We talked about Desmond Ridder. We also talked about Colt McCoy. Oh, well, we didn't, but no one should have to talk about Colt McCoy. And
He's
that's
not playing. They switched to a different
Trace
quarterback.
McSorley.
oh,
Yeah.
it's Trace
Trade.
McSorley. I'm
former
sorry. It
Penn
is-
State standout.
yeah, home run. That's his thing, right? That's what he did
Yeah,
in college.
McSorley, he doesn't gamble, but he does home runs.
So it's too many points for both of those offenses. Lay the under 41. No one's should be watching this game unless you live in Atlanta or Arizona, and they should both be watching it to get a better draft pick. So
I like that bet, buddy.
Under
So
41.
my
Make sure
in
you
this
put that in
game-
action so I can tell it when
I'm
it
going
comes around on
in
Sunday.
this game. So I like to take teams that did not cover versus teams that did. The Atlanta Falcons actually fit the bill on this one this week. I think they're minus 3.5 favorites, which I do not like. So I'm not playing it. But if you're bold enough
don't lay any points with
to,
McSorley.
yeah, if you're bold enough to take the Falcons, yeah, more props to you.
I will just say that
Technically, what the numbers say.
the Falcons will falcon this game, which means that they will win and fuck themselves the draft.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Officially eliminated, so now it's time to draft as bad as possible.
That's
a good point.
That sounds very Dolphins.
Yeah.
It does. All right. We have a game in Pittsburgh and Baltimore. We don't have a bet on. So
We don't know if Lamar's going to play or not, so we all avoided it.
Yep. Let's go to Detroit. We got Chicago coming in Detroit. Andy and I are going to head to head. Andy, start us off.
It's too many points. Justin Fields is still playing, I think. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but he's pretty good. And I don't normally like to be like what did I see lately, but I watched some of the Detroit game last week, and that is not a team that was prepared to play or deserves to be on a professional football field. So I'm fading that Detroit team and taking Justin Fields plus the 6.
Here's the difference. Steve Wilkes is the head coach at Carolina. Matt Eberflus, I think, is the head coach of the Bears, and we talked about Steve Wilkes being the man. And this is nothing against Matt Eberflus. That was the point. Carolina has a really good defense, and they kept him to 26 points, which doesn't sound like a really good defense, but it is. Chicago's defense is dreadful, not very good at all. I think Detroit's going to have a day, and Detroit has something to play for. Chicago has nothing to play for except try to get Justin Fields more stats and more comfortable with the game. So
it's a rivalry game, though. It's not going to be hard for the Bears.
Doesn't need more stats or to be more comfortable with the game. What they need is a better draft pick. That's what they're playing for. Justin Fields might be out of this game at halftime with a fake ass injury.
And that's what the front office is thinking. But the players on the field are still going to be playing hard.
Yeah, they are. And so are the Detroit ones who are trying to get in the playoffs and get playoff bonuses and fucking incentives and shit.
And they were trying
I don't know if any Lions.
You know what? Manny Campbell is going to have those guys biting ankles.
You think? Yeah, you think Dan Campbell takes a day off?
Yeah, but Justin Fields has 2 full ass cheeks. So
He is
He does.
flesh.
Luscious.
But whose coffee is going to be stronger? Do you think Man Campbell's coffee is going to be stronger, or do you think the Chicago Bears coffee is going to be stronger?
Do you think they put cocaine in Dan Campbell's coffee? Like there's like a cocaine guy. He's like, "Oh, I got your sugar. I'll put some sugar in there for you, baby."
little jar on the
Sure
table with a
seems
lid
like
and a
it.
spoon, but it's
Sure seems like
cocaine.
it.
It does.
I hope so.
I
Al, you have a
will
thought?
say
Cocaine and
my thoughts
steroids.
just because it's the Lions. I will say, well, the Lions were streaking, winning games, and I mean, maybe this is just like off the cuff shit you say in the locker room after the game, but Dan Campbell would frequently reiterate that they're never gonna take away from a win.
4th and goal.
You know, they may have played sloppy, but you know, we won the game. That's what's important. And you know, they really like played pretty shitty, even though they've won some games. And I think actually losing it and in the way they did.
Oh, he got nowhere. Oh, he threw it. Oh, what a play! Sorry.
Oh fuck. I just think that Dan Campbell
still
is like,
covering. We're
oh
good.
fuck, I should have had them better prepared, and I think this was like a week
There
where he
had to
kinda
be a guy
did right
downfield.
on that end. So also the Bears are bad. That's
They
my
are
thought.
bad.
We're
So,
not
Matt was-
totally not recording this during a game that I have money on.
Yeah.
So Matt, you were talking about the bad defense for the Bears. Is the over a possible look here?
The over
No
is a great
lineman
look.
downfield. That is
Let
a
me see
good
what the number is.
completion.
It's 52. I looked it up while you guys were chatting.
That's a
Indoor.
lot of NFL points.
It is a lot, but I think I might take a look at that.
OSU
too.
just scored a touchdown.
Over
just so
52 is interesting.
this isn't like
Detroit has something to play for, and their offense is looking even against a good Carolina defense. They put up 26 last week. They're going to score points, and Chicago's defense is not nearly as good as Carolina on the road in bad weather. So,
you guys are still talking about that game. Detroit's going to win by a touchdown. Let's move on.
all right, Jacksonville, Houston. We don't have a bet on it because Houston's been weird. They stay scrappy.
Yeah. Houston beat the Texans last week. That was weird. Or not the Titans. Not Houston can't beat the Texans. That would be impossible.
Houston beats the
Houston
Texans
plays
a
the
lot.
Texans.
All
It's
the
always
time.
a tie. Houston plays the Texans. It's always a tie. Houston beat the Titans last week. But I think Jacksonville's going to win this game. But like I don't know. It's weird. I didn't want to bet it.
Yeah, there's not really any reason Jacksonville should be playing hard in this game. They should be trying to get into the next week healthy, because that's the only game that matters.
Well, they got to win, right? They have to
No.
win this game. No, they just have to
No.
beat Tennessee. Do they have what's Tennessee's record? I guess they're going to have everything in front of them because Tennessee plays on Thursday too.
If they
Yeah.
win and Tennessee
Oh.
loses, I think that helps, right?
I think because Tennessee owns the tiebreaker, so if Tennessee wins last week, then that would bring them even.
God, I
Give them the
cannot wait
tiebreaker. Let's
to
see.
that game. to be
Tennessee's
scratched
7
into
and
Sunday
8,
evening.
and Jacksonville's 7 and 8. So they're both 7 and 8. Yeah. So even if Jacksonville is up a
If
game,
they win and Tennessee
lose.
loses,
So it's a winner take all.
Week
That would be
18,
great
yeah.
because of the tiebreaker.
yeah,
So
the last one's a winner take all
Jacksonville
either
has
way.
something
That's
to play
interesting.
for.
no. This week, no.
Yeah, Jacksonville has to win.
They have to
No, they
win.
don't.
Mhm.
Because
If they lose, then they won't be. Then they won't be able to have a better record than Tennessee.
No, sorry. So Jacksonville won the first matchup between these two.
Jacksonville
So
has the
Jacksonville
tiebreaker, so
has
it
the
doesn't matter.
tiebreaker.
Jacksonville has
I
the
didn't think
tiebreaker if
Tennessee
they
had the
beat
tiebreaker.
Tennessee, but if they don't, then Tennessee has the tiebreaker, being that
Right.
they are tied head to head, and whatever the next one is,
Doesn't
Tennessee
matter.
has it. So
You're right. You're absolutely
Got it.
the
right.
winner
This game
of
doesn't
Week
matter.
18 wins the division.
Bench everybody.
This is
Treat it
fascinating,
like a bye.
guys.
Tiebreakers in the AFC South. Hey, we're a real podcast. We're talking
Will the
football.
AFC
Again with
South
no
champion
bets.
have a winning record? Stay tuned.
Al, what do you think about Denver, Kansas City?
I'm taking 13.5 with Denver. I think with Hackett out, I think we get a refreshed and revitalized Denver Bronco offense that suddenly can figure out how to score some points. We get a Kansas City team that does not give a shit about this game. Already locked in pretty much to a 2 seed. I guess they're playing for the potential of a 1 seed, but I think that one's Buffalo's to lose. So maybe Kansas City tries to win like hard, but we're looking at an NFL game with a near 2-touchdown spread. That's crazy. And I was
Yeah.
saying earlier that I don't think I trust Kansas City to cover a double-digit spread anymore, even if it is against a Broncos team that is about as low as they can go.
I agree with everything you said, and I'm just waiting to see if this hits 14. I don't really care as much if I give it at 13 or 12 and a half. I'd rather give it some time and see if it hits 14. So I'll wait until later in the
Yeah.
week. But
I don't think it will, but it would be nice.
Yeah, but like I said, the 12, 13 aren't key numbers. So I'll take a plus 12 later on the chance that I might get a plus 14. So
Yeah.
But I think everything you said about the side is correct.
Yeah.
The Hackett bump.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think one of their coordinators stepping into head coach role, but I just think getting that bad juju out of the locker room does like a ton for a team that is, at rock bottom. And plus, that's still a defense that's really tough. I know they just gave up 51 to the Rams, but I think that was we've officially quit on this coach. We want nothing to do with him kind of thing, more so than the Rams offense suddenly, outpowering the Broncos defense. So the next game, Dolphins at Patriots, is a pretty big one. This is probably the biggest game of the 1:00 day, you think? Oh, certainly for you guys, but there doesn't seem to be. I guess Carolina Tampa might be another one, but Andy, what do you have for Dolphins Pats?
So Danny and I have the same play here. It's to tease Miami up. I think they're 2.5 point dogs at the moment. So you add the 6 point teaser, and that takes them up to 8.5. This line has moved a lot after the Tua concussion news. They're not sure if he'll play this week or not. It could be Bridgewater or Skyler. But either way, I think the Dolphins keep it close. Matt doesn't like that, but I don't know. The Patriots just have not looked good. I know they scored some garbage time points to cover Danny's teaser, but the Dolphins have actually looked okay the last two games, other than the fourth quarter. Like the last quarter we saw was awful, 3 interceptions, but the first 3 quarters and the whole game against Buffalo, like there's no shame in losing in Buffalo in a blizzard. Like there's no shame in that, and we actually played pretty well. So I'm gonna take Miami. I'm gonna tease it up to 8.5. Matt, tell me why you hate it.
No, I don't hate it. I hate the idea of Skylar Thompson trying to get the plus 8.5. I think Teddy can probably get you there too. But
Teddy covers, baby.
I love Teddy covers, bro. I'm not hating on Teddy covers. I just hate that. It's more of like an indication of I hate how we set from 8-3 to 8-7. It's just more of like I'm just bummed. That's it.
It really feels like on its face, the Patriots can't cover an 8.5 point spread as favorites. So I like it from that perspective. But imagining a Dolphins backup quarterback situation just sounds like a really sad way to spend a Sunday afternoon, hoping that they can backdoor this thing. And they might, but yeah, that's it's a fun one.
It's not a fun one. It's a miserable one. I hope we cover. I hope we win, and then we can have some relief going into the final week. But
yeah,
we will see.
Al, you want to take us to the next one?
Not really. It's Colts and Giants. I'm taking 5.5 points with the Colts. It seems like a weird number. But this is again one of these ones where the Colts did not cover last week and the Giants did. Typically those hit pretty consistently around 60%. I don't know. I debated scratching this one just like I did with the Falcons, but I think I'm gonna stick it out. 5.5 seems like enough points to get us home, so long as Nick Foles and the Colts offense don't screw the pooch and just like hand the game over to the Giants. He's got to play better than last week, right? Just on like
Big
sheer
unit size on
chance.
Nick Foles.
Yeah,
Same
big
joke
unit.
I was gonna make.
Oh, old
I got
Big
nothing
Dick
better
Nick.
to add on this game.
Yeah.
I don't know what if the Colts have anything to play for. I think Nick Foles has a lot of pride, so I do think it will be competitive. And I don't think the Giants are very good. I think they are.
Yeah.
We said it early in the year. We don't think they're very good, and nothing has changed in my opinion on that.
Yeah.
Let's take it to Philadelphia. We got the New Orleans Saints with the fighting Taysom Hills, who took down the big bad Browns last week. Going into Philadelphia, Al, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm laying 6.5 with the Eagles. I feel like this one's going to move to 7 if it hasn't already at most books. 6.5 is a sweet spot, and the Eagles are just a lot better than the Saints. They can officially clinch the division. They can. Have they already locked up the 1 seed? I don't know if they've locked up the 1 seed or
You
not, but if
can't
they haven't,
clinch a division and not have the 1 seed.
what?
Yeah, I'm with you. Right, Gardner
Yeah.
Minshew or Jalen Hurts. Doesn't matter. I think the New Orleans doesn't have much to play for. I think Philadelphia is far better, and I think they'll lock up this game as aggressively as they can and rest everyone next week.
Yeah. What he said.
Let's go to Tampa, where we got Carolina coming into the Tampa Bay Bucks. Ooh, we got a fight. I'm going to let Andy start us off, and then Al can rebuttal.
Yeah, the Panthers have been way better than everybody thought, and Tom Brady has been way worse than everybody thought. I had a bet on the Bucks this past week, and watching Tom Brady is just so not fun. He's like LeBron in that every play that doesn't go his way, he's looking at the refs going, "What? You're not going to call something? You're not going to call something?" It's the most annoying thing in the world. So screw Tom Brady, Carolina +3.
Yeah.
Wow, Tom Petty.
I think you made a very sound argument, Andrew. I think you never count out touchdown Tom. I think the Bucks are in a great spot despite a bad year and a down year and a bad year for Brady himself. To still just win the division and then go out and make some noise in the playoffs without any expectations. They're not good enough to do anything in the playoffs, but they're good enough to beat this Panthers team by more than a field goal.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that game. The line confuses me because you think Tampa Bay would be that's saying it's a pick 'em on a neutral field, right? Sam
basically.
Darnold versus Tom Brady is a pick 'em. It's a head scratcher.
Yeah, that sounds dumb.
And it feels dumb. Speaking of dumb, let's go to DC. We got
Hang
the
on,
Cleveland Brown. Oh,
Sorry, Matt, just real quick. Danny had to step away, but he's on the Panthers teaser there. I think it was at 2.5 when he put it in. It's at 3 now, but still not a terrible teaser. It's really close to the long range. You're gonna go from 3
Here,
to 9.
I want
so.
I want a Panthers +3 teaser last week, so I'll keep it.
Perfect. Sorry, Matt.
So
Didn't
you're
interrupt.
comparing that with the old
Let me get
Dolphinos.
that out there.
Sorry
Yeah,
I took
good
so
look.
long. I totally did not make some bread today, and then while trying to cut it, kind of drunk, cut my finger, and have to wake up my wife to get a Band-Aid put on my finger. Didn't happen.
All that happened during the pod? Wow.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, I just thought you went to poop.
No, I usually poop before the pod. That was supposed to be a pee break. That
Pre-pod
there was
turned
a
poop.
lot
into
of
a bread
blood.
break.
There was a lot of blood. My blood's thin from all this whiskey.
Blood bread break.
Pre-pod poop, post-pod pee.
During pod pee. Yeah.
Pee-pee poo-poo. No pee-pee poo-poo talk.
No
Matt,
more
Let's-
talk. No more
let's
talk.
drink.
Matt, I'm so sorry I interrupted you.
All right, guys, let's keep it easy.
He's on a roll. Let's go.
Cleveland is out of the playoffs. Washington has something to play for. Washington's offense is not very good. Cleveland's offense is not very good. I don't know if they'll even play Deshaun this week. I don't know why you would necessarily play Deshaun this week. I would take the under here, under 40.5. Weather is going to be shit in DC too. So under 40.5.
I like it. I I saw. Did I see Carson Wentz playing this week?
Oh, I hope.
Yeah.
No more Lizard? Lizard's out?
I didn't know if Heineke got hurt or benched. Does anybody know? I'm too lazy to look it up. Let me Bing
I
it.
don't know.
Get it on Bing. Get your
Bing it.
Bing search going.
All right.
Get
Make
your
sure you
Bing
log
on.
into
Get your
AOL.
Bing
Get to
on.
Bing. All right, let's
We're
go
gonna get
to
backdoored. We're gonna get backdoored because Danny celebrated that Oklahoma State touchdown too hard.
All right, Al. San
Hang on,
Francisco
sorry.
lost.
I'm going to
Yeah.
do it to you again. Taylor Heineke was benched. Wentz returned, and Ron Rivera is undecided about who will start Week 17.
Why? Heineke's great, and he's not that great. Their
He
offense is
he
good.
was bad last week.
I actually love the under more if Carson Wentz is playing because Cleveland's defense is pretty good, and Washington defense is pretty good. So take the under 40.5. Smells delicious. Let's go to San Francisco, Las Vegas. Al, what you got, fam?
Taking the Raiders +6 just because it feels like such a bad idea.
It does.
You know when you see these lines and you're like, why isn't this like who's out here betting Raiders +6 against the 49ers? You've got the 49ers who've won like, I don't know, like 8 straight. Doesn't matter who they have at quarterback, they're gonna put up points. Their defense is good. You got a Raiders team that like hasn't found their form through like 17 weeks now.
That trick.
And you're like, okay, the line's
I'll
only
tell you
6.
I'll tell you who's out here betting Raiders +6, or Raiders +6. Me.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm always out here betting Raiders +6. So that's who you're in line with.
Okay. It feels.
I just
feels
want you to know
bad.
that.
Al,
Feels bad.
I've been betting +5 to +9 on home dogs all year, and it's been okay. It's worked out really well, and this kind of hit that number again. I know San Francisco's really good. I get all that. I also know they have Brock Purdy, right? Eventually,
Yeah.
like shit has to come home to roost. And look, San Francisco's better. They're going to win the game, but take the +6 here.
I also
Anyway.
think San Fran's in a spot where they're not looking. They're not going to get the top seed right now. So there's nothing to play for really. They're playing for whether they're going to be the 2 or 3 seed, which means are you going to play the 7 or 6 seed? Like it doesn't really matter. So
Do you
I
know
don't
Kittle
think they care.
can pass Travis Kelce for most receiving yards in his career in the first 6 years of his career this year?
Really?
It's this game he can pass him. It's like he needs 100 more yards.
Wow.
I did not know that.
So Kittle's awesome, and you know what else he can do is fucking block. Like
He can
receiving
block.
isn't the best thing he does. So he's like 400 or 500 yards away from Gronk in the first 6 years of his career. But
He's awesome.
so the other thing that happened after the first like 6 years of Travis Kelce's career is like Patrick Mahomes' rise to greatness, and then Kelce turned into like a 1,500 yard a year receiver. So that's probably not going to, Kittle's not going to
That's
turn
probably
into
not happening for Kittle. Brock Purdy's pretty good.
Yeah, he's not going to turn into.
He's not that good.
Anyway.
So I'm normally very intentional about not saying that I hate bets. Danny loves to do that. He loves to jump in and be like, I hate that bet. I hate that bet. I'm actually going to take some time in the off season and compile all of the times Danny said I hate that bet. And then I need to find a Morgan and Freeman impersonator to come in and say, and all those bets won. Right.
Yeah.
Like because they do. They all win when Danny says he hates it. I hate this bet. I don't know why. Las Vegas +6. Like I have no reason to believe that Las Vegas can keep this close. I know there's Brock Purdy. Like he can't keep this up. He's got to like lose at some point. But I just can't get there.
I hate more people's bets than just yours. Just because your
It's
bets
very
win.
stinky. It's very stinky.
When I hate them.
I feel like you hate mine more because I love taking like 48 points again with whoever's playing Bama, right? Like you hate that bet.
Well, why would you take points against Bama? Bama always covers.
All right, sorry.
No, it's something I've been doing all year, and it's worked out. Like that 5 to 9.5 at home, I like it. I like that bet a lot, and this one hit right in that number.
I'm not on it, so I hope you win. Go with God.
Yeah. Let's go with God.
Love this bet.
What am I
Andy.
going
I
as a
love this
missionary?
bet so much. The only reason I'm not on this bet on the podcast, Andy, is because I don't want to mush you.
All right, Andy, take us to Jets Seahawks.
Seattle +2. I've been saying all year that Geno Smith is an incredible quarterback. I definitely did not hate on him and fade him every week for the first half of the season. But man, it's the Jets. I mean, they can't do anything right now. I think Mike White is coming back, but Jets fans are so excited about Mike White. Like, go look at some of his numbers. The man is not the savior. Like, if you think Mike White is your savior, then you have a very, very
the
sad
qualifications
existence.
for being
Faulty
a good
God.
quarterback is simply being better than Zach Wilson. Then I think a lot of us here are good quarterbacks.
Do you guys like the under in this game? Under 42.5 is something I'm very intrigued by.
I like it because I think that the Jets defense is good enough to hold the Geno Wilson led Seahawks awesome offense
Matt,
in check.
I don't like it. I fucking love it.
Let's
fucking
go.
love it, man.
I'm doing it right now.
But
Under 42.5, I'll lock it in with you. Is that what you said?
when Andy's talking shit about Mike White, Mike White is Matt Moore, right? He's the guy you want on your bench behind the guy that you're trying to build into the guy, right? When Matt Moore was behind Ryan Tannehill, that was a good guy you want on your bench behind Ryan, because he's not the guy, right? He's not the guy. Know he's not the guy, right? But if the guy gets hurt, he can come in and give you a game. He can give you a game. He can't give you 5 games, but he can give you maybe a game, maybe 2 games.
Wait, are we talking about Taylor Heineke again?
Well, Taylor Heineke can give you like 6 games.
He can give you like 4.
Okay, maybe
then
4. But
Carson Wentz to come in for a half, get hurt.
He can give you 4, and then he can give you 2 sinkers, and then give you 3. You know, he's more like Jay Fiedler. If we're going to Dolphins quarterback comparisons,
okay.
All right, who's the Cleo
very
Lemon?
myopic bucket?
Chase Daniel,
that's
Cleo
Wilson.
Lemon.
Chase Daniel, Chase Daniel, Cleo Lemon. They're just backups forever, and they each have had 1 start in their career.
Speaking of quarterbacks, I was talking to a friend the other day, and it's like feeling bad for the Dolphins, right? We had all these years of having Tom Brady in our division, right? And then now we've got Josh Allen in our division. It's just like, man, like, can't we catch a break? And then he was like, yeah, what if you were a Jets fan? And before all that, you had Marino for 20 years. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that's you had Marino in your division. You went straight into Brady and straight into Josh Allen.
Dude,
like,
don't forget.
Sorry,
like
don't forget that the Colts were in our division with Peyton Manning.
Oh, with Peyton Manning at the beginning.
Man, it's sort of like having Aaron Rodgers and then Brett Favre and then, well, that's
Jordan
like
Love.
20. That's like 25 years right there. The Vikings had good quarterbacks at some point. I don't know.
Kirk Cousins for 30 minutes a day. That's enough.
Can we
30
talk
minutes a
about
week,
this?
that's enough.
It can't keep happening, right? The Kirk Cousins thing is cute.
Dude, he can't keep getting away with this.
Dude, it happened 15 minutes early this week. I texted you guys at 3:15. It's like he's dropping dimes at 3:15 now. He's expanding his 45 minutes now.
Is he a closer? Is that what he is? Like, if a baseball pitcher, is he like, or is he like somebody who hits clutch home runs at the end of the game? Like,
he's the devil.
David Ortiz.
He's
David
fucking
Ortiz.
devil.
He comes up.
He's fucking Kaiser Sose.
All I can tell you is that he's an evangelical Christian, which you know how I feel about that part of Christianity.
Okay.
It's a thing that exists that we all have to deal with in America.
I don't know what that has to do with this at all.
Hey, speaking of the Vikings, they're playing next.
Good quarterbacks. Evangelical Christians make good quarterbacks. They just do.
Okay.
Yeah,
I believe you.
Tebow, Tua, absolutely.
Oh,
they're the best.
Maybe T has something to do with it too.
Look down the list
Kirk
of quarterbacks
Cousins.
in the NFL and their religions. Look down
Maximum
the list of quarterbacks
Tuggin.
in the NFL and their religions.
Maximum Tuggins. It's a great massage parlor.
Get.
That's where what's his face for the Pats was
Robert Kraft.
Robert Kraft. Yeah,
Tuggins.
he's got a maximum Tuggins.
Get past Brady and Rodgers, and their heathen and Blake Bortles, the best quarterbacks ever. The boats.
Honestly, yeah, I think Blake Bortles, your Kenny Stablers, your Jake Plumbers, those are the best quarterbacks. Jay Cutlers.
Yeah.
They're not appreciated in the moment, but they are revered after the fact.
They're legends in their own mind.
Stabler, you're throwing in with them? That's awesome. And belongs. He belongs. He does. He totally belongs. That's great. I just hadn't thought about that name in, I don't know, 15 years.
All right, next game, Vikings Packers. I'm taking Minnesota plus 3.5 because I got the hook there. I'm always going to take it plus 3 anyway, but plus 3.5 makes me like it that much more. The Vikings are just a lot better. The Packers are like on life support, and I want the Vikings to end them.
Al, I
So-
saw you were on this, and I wanted to bet it so bad, but then I saw the game was at 4:25, and I was like, I can't.
Not a 1 o'clock game. Shit, you're right.
It's going to be
That's a good point.
mighty cold in Green Bay. Now,
And Aaron Rodgers has been on a fucking roll.
yeah, he's been playing okay. He didn't play great against the Dolphins, but he played well
Dude,
enough.
he
and
was dropping dimes. He had 2 touchdowns dropped. He could have had an extra 75 yards and 2 more touchdowns.
He did throw some absolute gems the other day. That wheel route. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That droopy wheel. I don't know why I described it that way. That sounded weird. But no, I like the Packers here. I'm laying the 3.5. I'll be contrary to Al, even though he's a lot better at this than I am. Let's go to the Battle of Los Angeles. It's like a Rage Against the Machine album. We got the Rams going into the Chargers, and Andy and I are on the same play here.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you guys. I need to get more than a touchdown, but I want to be on this with you. I need a hook. I want to be on this with you. I just need a hook.
Let's see if it's moved at all.
It's not. It's going the other way.
Yep.
I saw a lot of people were talking about how the Chargers are the team nobody wants to face in the AFC after they locked up a
Neither of
playoff
these
spot
teams.
this week. The
LA.
Chargers, I would gladly face the Chargers. They're ass. They're not good. That's a team that any team in the AFC that makes the playoff can beat. So I'm not buying that bullshit. Justin Herbert is the most overrated quarterback in the league, I think.
By the way,
People think he's the best quarterback in the league, the best, and he's like not even top 5. He's like a debatable top 10 quarterback.
I'm not paying attention to the rest of this fucking game.
Anyway, you guys place your bets. Let's wrap this bitch up. I gotta.
Matt, you want to go first?
I just woke up my whole family.
Sorry, we're live reacting to bets that have already happened that no one that is listening to this knows about or cares about.
The Chargers essentially don't have much to play for. The Rams don't have much to play for. It's a game where no one really cares. I just think it's too many points. Take the +7.
Yeah. The Chargers are overrated. The Rams are underrated with Baker Mayfield. Makes me wonder if maybe Stafford was hurt more than we thought before he got hurt and left.
Stafford's kind of like Tannehill, where he'll play fucking through anything and won't tell you. So he like that dude's tough as nails. He's played through broken everything.
Yeah, and there's no way that team should have been that bad, right?
He has like a spine injury or something too. It's like,
no, they've lost a lot of players. Like they don't have
their O-line's been decimated. So I think it took some time to sort that out.
They still have Donald, but they don't have like any of the other pass rushers they used to have. They don't have any of the receivers they used to have. I can't remember white dude's name, but he's hurt.
Cooper Kupp.
Kupp, yeah, the guy that killed our fantasy team, Sunshine.
Cooper. If you ever can't think of a white man's name, just go with Cooper.
Sonny, did you have something to add there?
Caden McBraden.
I was just gonna add that I don't know. I've got a certain bit of excitement in my heart about Baker Mayfield. You know, I feel like he got wronged, and like here he is, like, and you listen to his interviews, and he's just happy to play, and I'm like, man, I love that.
I do too.
I'm with you, Sunshine, man. I want Baker Mayfield to succeed. I don't want him to succeed in LA for some reason. I feel like he belongs in like a more Midwestern type area. I feel like
a working class town.
I feel like he belongs in Atlanta.
Like maybe a Houston, like a Houston, Texas,
Pittsburgh.
Like I wish Atlanta went for Baker instead of Marcus this year. I feel like they would have had more success.
I agree. But I mean, nothing against Marcus.
No, he's been fine. He's been fine. But like we kind of like we're like in our 10th year of Marcus. We kind of know what that he's fine.
what you're getting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Baker, we know that Baker's best is like really fucking good. We know that his best is really fucking good.
And he's
All
much
right,
We
Monday
also know
night.
that his worst. We also know that his worst is really fucking bad though.
Monday night, Bills, Bengals. What do we got? We got, looks like
1-0 on
Chris
this.
has a play, and Andy and Danny are teasing.
Yeah, Sunshine, why don't you go first?
I think so. I took the Bills -1. They're at home. Or not. I'm sorry. Scratch that. I took the Bengals -1. They're at home. I think that they're a really hot team right now, and I've been betting on them weekly, and they haven't let me down. And this is a little too close, but I decided to roll with it anyways.
I've
It's
got
a
good
great
news. You've
game.
actually got them +1.
Yeah, so you can
Yeah.
tie and win, I guess.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's
gonna be that's gonna be like the game of the year, right? It's gonna be a really good
It's a
game.
great
Plus
game.
1.5 when I said teaser. So if the line moved, I don't know if I want the Bengals teaser at +1. So I'm just gonna leave it. But fine.
Yeah, it's not officially the Wong teaser or whatever, but I don't care. I need something to pair with my other
It was
teaser.
1.5 an hour and a
and
half ago, but like, or 2 hours ago, whenever we started this. But like, I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna bet this until right before. By the way, none of these teasers, don't do teasers super early because it's dumb.
Wait,
dumb.
because you teased Titans down from +7.5
My
to
official-
+1.5, and then
My official
you
pick on
actually
the
bet Texans.
my official pick on the ChuggieBets podcast was teasing the Titans down from 7.5. And my actual bet was teasing the Texans up from 3, and the Texans ended up winning that game. That was great. I loved that. So that's why.
You're
That's one
like,
of the
wait,
reasons.
I didn't lose any teasers, and you're like, wait, how did I tease the Titans? Yeah, that was great.
That's why I'm like mad at Andy for my record. I'm like, I didn't lose any teasers. How could I have a losing record? I what's 28-0, and he's like, well, look at the tape.
Yeah.
This
Andy
is
was
what
even
you
a
said.
sport about it. He went back and like listened and was like,
I
"Oh, this
did.
is
I
what happened.
re-listened to
It
the
was great."
podcast.
Honestly, you didn't have to. Once you said that this was the opening line, I was like, that makes perfect sense. I'm good.
All right, let's get our chuggy bets in. You guys got any specifics you want
I'm
to
gonna do
give the
Can I
under
stamp
delay my
approval?
chuggy bet until like Sunday?
No,
Let's slap
you can make a TikTok video.
Yeah, anyone can.
I mean, I do that, and then you guys don't
Yeah, I know.
give me credit for it. Like I fucking crush all my soccer bets, and I don't get anything on my record.
Oh,
Not on your record,
well,
but
not on
we
the
gave
podcast.
we gave you props for it.
Listen,
I'm just saying on all the
I
record
made
where
dinner
we're talking about
last
everybody's
night. Nobody
bets
on
and their
here gave me
percentage.
props for making
Oh,
dinner
sure.
because I didn't make it on the podcast.
When we're talking about everybody's record, where like you guys are like, oh, I'm at like 75% on my picks. Like I don't get any record for when like I hit like a bunch of like +320s.
The record we give out on the podcast is for picks given out on the podcast. But should we go around and everybody say something nice about Danny?
Yes.
No, I don't need
You
your
Danny,
fucking
your
approval.
beard looks tremendous.
I don't
It
need your
does.
fucking
You're
approval. What I do
great
know is that I
podcast.
tailed out on this Wisconsin bet, and we just hit it because they're kneeing out.
Oh,
Congratulations.
hell
guys.
yes.
I'm taking Tennessee plus 10.5. That's my chuggy bet.
Dude, they're not even taking these. They're just gonna go score a fucking touchdown to beat them. They don't
Yeah,
even
so
I'm
need
they're
gonna
not
take-
taking these. Because they
I'm
saw the
taking under
timeout left, so they
42
got
and
a
a
score
half
here.
in Seattle versus the Jets.
Love it.
We need a touchdown, Danny. So again, you just fucked us by like calling it a victory before it was a victory, celebrating Oklahoma State. Do you know what
50 seconds
side,
left.
do
What
you
are you
know what
talking
side
about?
of this game you're on? Yeah,
I have
and it's
minus
second
3.5. I have minus
and
3.5.
Sonny, do you want Tennessee
Wisconsin
or
minus
Cincinnati?
3.5. All we need to do is for the
Cincy
time to
plus
run
one.
out.
You guys owe a bunch of chuggy bets, and you guys
Yeah, Danny, drink.
Oh,
That's-
yeah, Danny, drink all the beer.
all
I
the
only have
days.
one.
Chug until sunset. Sunrise.
Al, what's your chuggy bet?
I don't
They're
know.
not
Shit.
calling timeout, Al. It's over.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Danny. I'm gonna do Raiders. I hate it.
I love it. I actually kind of want to join you on that one just because it's such a weird bet.
All right, Danny.
7, 6, 5,
Well chugged. Do you have a
4,
chuggy bet?
3, 2,
My
One.
35 teasers I'm going to bet on Sunday, and then you're not going to give me credit for.
That's accurate. That's accurate.
I guess
So you want-
Detroit -5. I don't have any bets. I don't want any bets. I don't want any of these.
Well, thank you for joining Chuggy Bets. We appreciate everyone's time. We're sorry.
Really
that-
tied the bow on this one real good. Go Wisconsin.
We're
Fuck
glad
Kirk Cousins.
Wisconsin covered. We're glad
On
for
our
everyone
NFL
at
pod.
home on the NFL pod. Exactly. Yeah, thank you. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. We're really trying to make good content for our listener. So that's really important.
Clearly,
to
we're
us.
not trying that hard.
No, we're trying pretty hard.
Those of us that aren't watching the Wisconsin game are trying pretty damn.
Sorry.
And
No, you're good.
hopefully
It's a
you
gambling
make
podcast.
hopefully you make a lot of money this week. If not, well, we'll be back at it next week. But until then, good night, Joey.
Good night, Joey.
Enjoy.
Good night, Lexi.